Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I do give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh B'Shem El Shai B'Shem Kakadash, the one of the apostles. And that was a great millstone for teaching says true peace and blessings to the whole of Israel. Yahweh is the name of the unfailing Hebrew, B'Shem is the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in the lesson, and as in the title, World War III will be a reality. I see many people want to believe that World War III, is not a possibility, that it's not going to happen in our lifetime, and yada, yada, yada. A prophecy will be fulfilled, and we're seeing the steps being taken towards World War III, or also known as Armageddon. And this is why you see Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, constantly stirring that pot between these nations, all in order to reach that breaking point, which once again is going to be World War III. And there's nothing you can do to stop it, which gets begun this article right here where it says, is Trump considering leaving NATO? Unverified, unevidenced claims spread. And this is, heavy. Because as we know, within the scriptures in the Bible, you're going to have many of these nations, especially allied nations, turn against Babylon, against America. And also doing reference a movie dealing with, Captain America, which just came out recently. I do want to make sure my voice is on real quick. And that was kind of another point that was being pushed throughout the movie, where you had the president, the United States, which they were pushing for a treaty, which I believe was with China, if not Japan, if I had the exact nation, but you also had another one along with them. And in the movie, the treaty pretty much fell apart, and you had a certain point where they kind of went against each other and all that. But spoiler, in the movie they came together in the end. But the point still stands where you had these nations pretty much going against each other. And as we're also going to go into scriptures where you're going to have these nations come together to go against Babylon, against America. And it's written, there's nothing you can do to stop it. Now, the President Donald Trump's administration left European leaders reeling last week, prompting unattributed rumors that he was considering withdrawing the United States from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the militaristic pact that has bound the U.S. and Europe since 1949. Now, the confirmed talks in Saudi Arabia between Russian and U.S. officials, alongside comments made by Vice President J.D. Vance to the Munich Security Conference, have stirred worries that the U.S. relationship with Europe may weaken as Washington pursues a more nationalist agenda. And you also can see how Donald Trump is being used as that catalyst to bring about division, chaos. And as the Saudi talks with U.S., which U.S. officials have confirmed Europe will not be a part of, have worried Euro leaders. Before being elected to second term as president in 2024, Trump indicated a potentially frostier future with European powers, driven by a disparity across the alliance on military spending. And that's pretty important right there. Now the scriptures, as Jeremiah chapter 50 and 9, it says, "For lo, I'll raise and cause to come against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north countries." So very soon you'll have many nations come together to go against Babylon, to go against the whole America. Now it says, "And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert men. None shall return in vain." Those arrows are not speaking just regular bow and arrows, but speaking of those thermonuclear missiles, which you can further get in 2nd Ezra. Going to those arrows being shot from one end of heaven to the other. And what regular bow and arrow could be shot from one place on the earth to the whole other side? None. So completely, crosses that out. And it's going to show us, speaking of these nuclear missiles, man, which we can further get in the 25th verse. And it says, "The Lord has opened his armory." What do you think it means when the Lord's opened up his armory? You can get in the scripture how the Lord has, created the waster to destroy. What do you think that is speaking of? Isaiah 9:5 also going how this war is going to be by the way of fuel and flame and fire. What do you think that is speaking of? The first death was by the way of water, but the second death is going to be by the way of fire, and specifically thermonuclear fire. So I don't know if I finish this off. Read them talking one more time. "The Lord has opened his armory and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord power of hosts in the land of Chaldeans. But as we read in the previous verse, going to verse 9, you're going to have these nations get ready to go against her, against Babylon, against America. So seeing Donald Trump want to pretty much do away with NATO or leave it, it's some heavy stuff, man. Especially what we know dealing with prophecy of what will befall this place, and how you will have many of these nations, especially allied nations, go against Babylon, against America. As they proclaim you, some of the Gentiles prepare war with the mighty men, let other men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your prunings into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. Now you have these nations are preparing for war, preparing for a fight. And especially these, so-called, weak nations are now starting to stand up against her, against Babylon. You see many of these nations are making, advancements with their nuclear arsenal, the weaponry. And now they're starting to take, less flack from America. Now, verses 11. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about. This is the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Verse 12. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or also known as Jehoshaphat, for there was to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord's getting ready to judge all these nations, man. About the point earlier, the Lord is stirring that pot for a reason. Because World War III is not only a possibility, it's a fact. It will come to pass. It will be a reality. Verse 13, put you in the silk, for the harvest is ripe. Come and get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Are you ready for the pagan? Now, as Revelation 17:16, also another great point. Pretty much adding to what we was read in Jeremiah 50 and 9. And now it says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And you're going to have America, Babylon, be brought low, Isaiah 47 and 1. Or Isaiah 13. Now, the place shall never be inhabited again. As also Isaiah 47, going to come sit in the dust, O daughter of Babylon. So, pushing that point, America's going to be brought low. And as I brought up earlier, how you're going to have many nations come together to go against America, against Babylon. Isaiah 34 and 1 through 5. And as I brought up that movie earlier, doing Captain America, which pretty decent movie, but once you deal with that particular scene or that point that was being pushed throughout the movie, where the U.S. president, pushing to uphold a treaty, and then as you saw, it was pretty much, failing, throughout the movie, if you have seen it. So that, was a point to, pick out, from the movie. So 34 and 1 through 5. Watch it with a spiritual lens. Now it says, come to your nations, do hear and hearken ye people, that they are to hear, and all that there in the world, and all things that come forth of it. Verse 2, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them, he had delivered them to the slaughter. So Yahweh Shemashai's indignation is upon this place. The Lord is getting ready to destroy this place, man, and it's going to be by the way of those thermonuclear missiles. Verse 3, their slain also shall be cast out, and the stink shall come to their carcasses, and the mount shall be melted with their blood, going to that judgment. Verse 4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll. And that's also speaking of the mushroom cloud being formed from those explosions. And all the hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth out from the vine, as a falling fig from the fig tree. Verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. What is that sword? Speaking of those thermonuclear missiles. As we already got another example dealing with those arrows. I see we're here speaking of a sword, and you can get in Revelation the 6th chapter, it goes to the stars fall from heaven, so it's speaking of the same thing. And it said, behold, shall come down upon Idumea, the word for Esau, even upon the people of my curse to judgment. So once the Lord's getting ready to judge this earth, man. So once there is a reason why you see conflict breaking out between these nations, tensions continuing to build, especially having talks of the U.S. wanting to leave NATO. Is Donald Trump considering leaving NATO? There you go. This is Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 8, and that says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation. And we went into that indignation, which we read in Isaiah 34. As even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. What's that fire? Speaking those thermonuclear missiles. As I brought up a few points throughout this lesson, Isaiah 9 and 5. We read in Jeremiah 50 and 25. You know? 2 Peter 3 and 10 is also another great chapter. Now let's get to these last two scriptures. This is Revelations 11 and 14. And it says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe comes quickly. Now what is that second woe? Speaking of the Second World War. Now what do you think the third woe is? This Third World War. And this was once again getting ready to befall this place. Matthew 24 and 8. Shut down with this right here. And now you sat by Mount, all themselves came to him privately, saying, tell us when these things be, and what should be signs thy coming, and of the end of the world. Now, when it says the end of the world, it's not speaking of the whole end of the entire earth, it's speaking of the end of the age. And now, so let's talk many of the end time signs, things we would see now take place before the Lord Yahushua will return. And Yahushua answered and sent him, take heed and receive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I'm anointed, and shall deceive many. So be careful and wary of who you are listening to and who you are learning from. Malachi 3 and 18. Discern between who serves the Most High and who serveth them not. And it should be crystal clear by now with who your true teachers are. Verse 6, and sure of wars and rumors of wars. And that's the end of the point. This is another telltale sign when you're in the end of this place. Seeing tensions building, conflict breaking out. The Lord is stirring that pot, all in order to reach that boiling point, which one's going to be Armageddon or World War III. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdoms against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So you have more end time signs. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows, and it's just the beginning. So you can also get that 2 Ezra 16, go into those birth pains, which you get another translation. It goes into the beginning of these birth pains right here. So another point to add. And the point was made, I think, to make a quick hit, go into the situation. Saw another brother speaking on it. Want to add my 2 cents, especially after watching that Captain America movie, where that was kind of another point being pushed in that movie, where you had that treaty pretty much failing in the movie. So I thought that was something to add. Lord's will I try to point together to my ability, and you're edified. I give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashem El Shai, Bashem Kakdash, and Shalom. See you next one, Lord's will.